You remember that poor kid? You know, back when you were young. We all remember that one poor kid in our school who was a walking, talking Greek tragedy. Yeah, he was rich in spirit, but boy, he had to blow the school janitor every day for lunch money. And he was always smiling for some odd reason. He was that kid who would always be bragging about the cool new toy he got from his millionaire grandfather, who loved him and his family very much. Yeah. He'd say, "Hey guys, I got the new PlayStation," and you'd say, "No, you didn't. Your parents can't even afford toothpaste or toothbrushes or a toothpick to pick their one fucking tooth. Fucking PlayStation." Yeah. But he would assure you, though, that he not only had the new game system, but he wanted you and your friends to come play with him next week at his birthday party. And that's when you knew he was full of shit, too. I mean, it was as obvious as a flaming turd that he was simply using this false acquisition of a then popularly new gadget to lure you into his world of impoverished shit and misery. He was trying to trick you into risking your life at his house with his family. And you had your own horrifying image of what his family was like. Christ. But wait! You should go anyway. You should, because there will be cake. It's a birthday party. I mean, at the very least, you'll get to eat cake. And who knows, maybe it won't be that bad, right? So, you'd take a rowboat through the murky, mist-covered waters, the sound of banjo music indicating your imminent ass raping you'd have to endure before even reaching the little shit's fucking mailbox. You'd finally arrive at what appeared to be a tool shed turned meth lab, retrofitted into the world's most meager dwelling, only to be greeted by a junkyard dog with a mixture of rabies and AIDS, having been fed nothing but beer and other dogs' corpses to ensure it would scare the shit out of the nearby swamp residents. Of course, just as the vicious mongrel was about to sink its teeth into your fucking soft spot, you'd hear the poor kid say something like, "Butch, stay!" Upon which the vicious mongrel, the beast of legend, would retreat back into its shadows and await the next potential victim/meal. Poor kid was so happy you came, and seeing as you were the only one to show up, he had all sorts of fun things planned for you and him to do. Things like throwing rocks at other rocks, picking up cigarette butts and building little miniature forts with them, getting a fucking vicious beatdown from the poor kid's alcoholic father, and of course, playing the PlayStation he initially used to attract you. For this, however, you'd have to enter his home. And for this, you were terrified, because Christ Almighty, upon entering your nostrils, are just instantly overloaded by the smell of cat piss and nicotine permeating the air in this poorly lit, rundown shithole. There's fucking mushrooms growing in the dark corners and an empty picture frame on the wall, which you know is just there because it's covering the stain from where somebody put a shotgun in their mouth. A humble, cozy, little CDC nightmare. Christ. "You ready for some PlayStation?" I remember him asking that, too. Mistaking that revolted expression on my face for one of excitement. Idiot. But even before he showed it to you, you knew it wasn't going to be a PlayStation. And it wasn't. What it was an original Pong TV game, which you would be happy to play were it not for the similarity to throwing rocks at other rocks, which you had just spent the past 2 hours doing. Thankfully, though, before having to do it again in electronic form, an aging, veiny, meth-addicted humanoid would enter the room and announce that the cake was ready. And Jesus Christ, could you have not heard better news? "Thanks, Mom!" Fucking poor prick. The mother would respond with something like, as she walked out of the room, some grunt. It was the only room in the house. She couldn't have gone far. Probably went to fucking smoke something. Carrot, an egg, wood. The fucking cake was also a disappointment. I mean, it was just 2 Twinkies pushed together with a flaming twig stuck in the middle. No one sang happy birthday. No one gave a shit. I remember that they gave him a big pine cone for his birthday, and they told him to swallow it and beg for death. So many years ago, and I remember it as if it were yesterday. The poor kid, though, ended up winning the lottery, and he became a millionaire. The fucking irony. He burned that place to the ground, too. His parents had been dead long time. I mean, he was like 17 when he won the lottery. His parents were dead. They overdosed. He just kind of lived there amongst the woodland creatures, raised by a deer and, you know, hillbilly ass rapists, whatnot. They treated him well enough, and they kept him in a cage. But he had food and wine. Anyway, he won a fucking $1,000,000. He put it in the bank. He lives off the interest, and yeah, it's the American dream. Just goes to show you that even if you are, well, no, that really doesn't go to show you anything. That kid just had blind fucking luck. Good thing he burned that place to the ground, though. I mean, Christ almighty. I wonder what chemicals and carcinogens he burned into the fucking atmosphere. It was like a mini Chernobyl just doing that. Fucking place was literally like, I mean, you walk in and you get typhoid fever, and then you leave, and you roll back through the swamp. Fucking kid.